Cowboys trade talks are escalating as we have two brand new targets that have just been revealed today. We talk about these targets, why they would be such a big help for the Dallas Cowboys, and everything in between right here, right now on Cowboys Digest. Welcome, everybody. I'm Jace Andrews. I appreciate you hanging out with us here on this Thursday afternoon. If you are new looking for daily Cowboys content, we've got you covered. Go down there, hit that subscribe button, 100% free. I promise you won't regret it. Shorts, live streams, and videos just like this every single day. So let's talk about the latest NFL trade rumors because, as you know, every single week, Bleacher Report releases an article titled The 2025 NFL Trade Block Big Board Entering Week Blank. Obviously, now we are entering Week 8, and the NFL trade deadline is less than 2 weeks away on November 4th at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. And there's a lot of rumors going around for the Dallas Cowboys. Are they going to get Trey Hendrickson? Are they going to go after Max Crosby officially? And in some aspects, I think they should go big, but in other aspects, I want to look at the entire picture and see some other guys. Well, in this latest article, there were not only two new players featured on the article, but both of these players were labeled as possible candidates for the Dallas Cowboys. So today, we'll talk about them, we'll talk about where they're from, as funny enough, they're both from the same team, and why they would be of use to Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys. Okay, so who are these guys? What is the trade deadline? All the things in between. So I mentioned here, the NFL trade deadline is November 4th at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, meaning there's going to be a lot of trades done on a Sunday or Monday, and then on Tuesday morning for sure. So make sure you stick around. There'll be a lot of stuff happening on those days, whether it be rumorize or hopefully a trade with it. So we're going to talk about two targets, and the first one is a linebacker from the Tennessee Titans. As I mentioned, both these guys from the same team, so both will be from the Tennessee Titans, but it's a linebacker, Cody Barton from the Titans. Just recently signed a 3-year contract, and right away there's a couple of things that I have initial thoughts on, but I want to look at his stats and kind of talk you through it. So the first thing is, he is a very good player. I like a lot of what he brings. His intangibles are there. And in this game, or in this season, he's played very, very effective. 7 games, 2 interceptions, 1 TFL, and he has 42 combined tackles. The one hesitation I have with Cody Barton, and not really Cody Barton, but specifically the linebacker area, is that you're going to get DeMarvion Overshown back. And while I don't think adding an extra linebacker is in a bad light, because honestly, the linebacker room has just not been great this season. Jack Sanborn has had a concussion. I don't like what we've seen from Kenneth Murray Jr. Shamar James came in and played well at times. He's also not looked great at times. And so there's just a lot of question marks on the linebacker room. So I don't think it's a bad thing, but it's definitely not like a top priority in my mind. So, what are the positives, though, for Barton, and what does he bring to the table? Well, let's go to the Bleacher Report article and kind of talk about a couple of different things. So, first, we start with the report from The Athletic's Diana Rossini, who said, quote, "The Titans are open for business on every player out but QB Cam Ward and defensive tackle Jeffrey Simons. They are looking to stockpile future picks," end quote. Cody Barton is not going to get them a ginormous return, and we'll tell you what we believe to be the return for Barton in just a second. But I do, however, think that Barton is a guy they're willing to trade, even though he did just sign a 3-year deal. He seems like it's going to be not worth it to keep him. Christopher Knox of Bleacher Report kind of follows suit with that, saying, quote, "General Manager Mike Borgonzi arrived this past offseason shortly after he signed linebacker Cody Barton to a 3-year, $21 million deal. Under normal circumstances, he probably wouldn't want to part with one of his marquee additions just a few months later," end quote. But this isn't a normal situation. This is a situation where the Titans got 1 win. They look horrendous out there. They fired their head coach. They're not in a position right now to basically bet on these marquee additions that you quote-unquote got this offseason. Even 3 years, it, unfortunately for the Titans' purposes, doesn't fit the timeline. And so that's where we kind of talk about linebackers. And, there are a bunch of teams who could use linebackers. And Barton, well, he's played very, very well this season, so he'd be a hot commodity across the NFL. Here is the final report. Christopher Knox of Bleacher Report kind of talking about the situation, saying, quote, More than a few teams could use help at linebacker, whether due to injuries or flat-out poor play. Barton would be a fine addition to any struggling defense with playoff aspirations, end quote. Struggling defense with playoff aspirations. Remind you of anybody? Oh, that's right, the Dallas Cowboys, because our defense has been horrendous. And Barton, throughout his career, he's been a bit of a journeyman over the past 4 seasons, playing with Seattle, Washington, Denver, and now Tennessee, where he got a 3-year deal. But he's been a very solid linebacker throughout his career. Not really going to be a rusher. He's had just 3.5 sacks throughout his entire career, which spans now, what are we talking, 7 years at this point. But he does have a good amount of interceptions, already 2 this season, 7 games. That totals his most in any season prior. Has 2 passes defended this season, 6 was his max in his career. So lots of good stats here, lots of good things that you really like to see. And the tackles have always been high numbers, which is, a good thing for a linebacker in a lot of purposes. I think the end-all be-all question, though, is he worth it? Well, let's see what the projected trade value is. It's a 4th-round pick. I think in this light, if you're really worried about Kenneth Murray, if you don't like the way that Jack Sanborn is looking, and you feel like DeMarvion Overshown is good, but you need something else, I would go out and make this trade. I think it's an easy one to make. It's not a large sum to give up, and he's played very well. Plus, you're going to get a guy for the next 2 years. This is not a guy you're trading for and then going to not sign this offseason. You get him, and you get him for 2 extra seasons past this year. So, we had 2 guys that we talked about, obviously. Let's talk about the other guy now, and that guy is a cornerback from the Tennessee Titans, and that is Arden Key. Now, Key is I'll call him an interesting guy for my purposes because his stats don't jump off the board to me. In fact, when you look at his stats, for all intents and purposes, they're actually not that good for a cornerback. And this year he's played in 7 games total. He's got 30 tackles, 12 assists. He does have 1 interception and 2 passes defended. But the thing that stands out to me is a couple of different things. First of all, your cornerback room has been injured throughout the entire season. And once again, you're going to get back Siobhan Revel Jr., and that's great. But Trevon has not played great, and Duran has been injured. And maybe it's time to go out and get some depth. And he is going to be just a rental option and was a 2nd-round pick back in 2022. And in that 2022 season, he played fantastic. 17 games, 84 total tackles, had 1 interception, and 8 passes defended. So a lot of things that you can like from that, and I would believe that it would, similarly to Cody Barton, it would not be a high price for that. So where does this report come from? We go to Christopher Knox, and also he quotes Ian Rappaport, who said Rappaport listed Roger McCreary as a member of the Titans who was drawing interest around the league and who, quote, would be more available than Ward or Simmons. And one thing that strikes me as an interesting part is that they mention Ward and Simmons as this, but they say that he's more available than them. Means that the Titans kind of like him. Means the Titans really do value him in some aspects. And so for this purpose, is he going to cost the same amount? What does that look like? Well, if you look at the potential suitors, it's the Dallas Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles. And so I don't think there's going to be a bidding war for Arden Key, but if you do look at their projected value, it's the same thing as Cody Barton. It's going to be a 2026 4th-round pick. So 4th-round picks, again, are not things that I am like holding dead tight onto, holding on, saying, yeah, I need this pick. You don't. You got 4 first-round picks. You've got a 2nd this year. You don't have a 3rd, but I'm not too worried about the 4th-round picks. And if it's going to make you better this year, man, I'm making that move. I am. And so I asked the question. I have my answer, but I'm curious for you. Is there a player you would rather trade for in these 2? Is there a guy that you like more? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Would you like the Cowboys to trade for Arden Key or Cody Barton? If you'd like to trade for Key, then I want you to type K for Key. Barton would be B for Barton. If you're on the side of let's get neither, then I want you to type in for neither. Also, here at the end of the show, I know that you all are my real ones, so get down there in the comment section and let me know your thoughts. K for Key, B for Barton, or N for neither. We'll have to wait and see what the trade deadline brings for the Dallas Cowboys, or maybe doesn't bring. I mean, I know we've seen Jerry Jones in free agency and all season. It doesn't exactly go well. Trade deadline has been different in the past. I think Jerry knows that this team needs defensive help if it wants to be a true playoff team. And there's guys like Jalen Phillips, and the potential is there if Jeffrey Simons or Trey Hendrickson or maybe Max Crosby does become officially available. But I feel like these are a little bit more slightly like lower costing and helpful pieces. So that's where I look at this and say, yeah, They make sense. They're easy, they're cheap, they're good, and they're helping struggling pieces of our defense. So that's when it's all said and done. We appreciate y'all watching. We appreciate you hanging out with us here on Cowboys Digest. But that's all we got for you here on today's show. We hope you have a wonderful Thursday or Friday, whenever you might be watching this. And we'll see you next time here on Cowboys Digest. Peace out, guys.